Hey everybody, welcome on in to Sports Live in the 215. Today we'll discuss the Eagles' 41-7 beatdown of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this game was just an exhibition of dominance. Even with playing not just one backup quarterback but two, the both they both Tanner McKee and Kenny Pickett were absolutely tremendous. Kenny was 10 for 15 for he had 10 for 15. I forget how many yards and one touchdown, and then plus the 3 for 4 from Tanner McKee and two touchdowns. So that was 10 plus 3 is 13, plus the one incompletion from Tanner is 16. So both backup quarterbacks were 13 for 16 for 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown from Kenny Pickett. Saquon Barkley was absolutely tremendous. Both your top two receivers, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they each had over 90 yards. Or Smith might have actually had 90. You guys can, of course, correct me in the comments. But this team just absolutely dominated a Cowboys team that had been playing well in recent weeks. But the Eagles just they let the Cowboys have one drive, and they scored a touchdown on it, and then the defense was like, nope, we're taking this game over now. They certainly did. Cooper Rush, he's just an absolute garbage football player. The only reason he had as many wins as he did is because when he played before, he had all these healthy weapons around him to make him look better. So the Eagles definitely exposed the Cowboys backup quarterback, which is always good to see. And I watch a lot of Cowboys content creators just to kind of get a pulse on what the fans are saying and how they're feeling about the team. And there was a creator by the name of Mark Holmes, and I watched the video he posted. I want to say it was earlier today, and it was just so good to just see him squirm and bitch, moan, and complain. It just felt so good. I don't often take joy in the misery of others, but that there can be an exception for Cowboys fans, because hearing them just squirm and complain is just an absolute joy. Nothing else will make me happier. Like the second coming of Christ could come down on earth, and it would pale in comparison to hearing the Cowboys organization and that awful, terrible, no good, very bad fan base squirm. So yeah, but I mean, in all seriousness, seeing the second coming of Jesus would be pretty cool. But anyway, I guess he technically already had a second coming because he did rise from the dead. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, Saquon Barkley got over 2,000 yards. Now he only needs 100 yards or 101 yards to pass Eric Dickerson's record of 2,105 yards, which hopefully he gets that. Side note, Eric Dickerson, who the hell are you, dude? I get it, you're a Hall of Famer, but he had the nerve to say that he would not be happy for Saquon Barkley if he was to break his record. Like, I get it, that's a record that stood for 40 years at this point, but it's like, dude, like, you, you gotta at least be happy for the guy. Like, I know, like, you worked really hard to get that record back in '84 when you saved the NFL from, like, essentially not being the same league that we see today. But I just think that's a very weak stance for Eric Dickerson to have. He's of course entitled to his opinion. He's also of course entitled to be wrong. Um, there was one, but yeah, I definitely think Saquon's gonna break the record, and to make it even sweeter, it'll be against the New York Giants. Imagine the year after releasing a guy, he's on the verge of breaking the NFL rushing record that stood for 40 years against you, and it really just it reminds me of the saying, "Turnabout's fair play," and for Joe Shane, it certainly is. He's definitely losing his job. I'm not sure if Dable will or if they'll let him develop like Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, whoever the Giants decide to draft. Um, but yeah, I really hope Saquon just. I really hope they let him get the record. I know the Eagles are kind of locked into the 2 seed, but I really do hope they let Saquon get that record. I thought aside from that, and yeah, I thought both receivers were absolutely tremendous. Grant Calcaterra I thought was really good. Um, there were a bunch of skirmishes throughout the game, and on one of them, Jalen Carter was actually the voice of reason. If Jalen Carter is the voice of reason, so, something is clearly kind of clearly very messed up. But I'm glad to see Jalen Carter start to kind of mature, because we're gonna need him, especially going into this playoff run. I feel like I he can just take over games, and I don't think anybody in the NFC has an interior offensive lineman that can match the strength and speed of Jalen Carter. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. That's why they play the games. I feel like I I feel like Jalen can just dominate everyone he goes up against. I feel like he's the most dominant interior defensive lineman that I've seen play, maybe since Corey Simon or Fletcher Cox. Probably Fletcher Cox, honestly. I know Brandon Graham has kicked inside from time to time, but he's not a primary defensive tackle. Like, um, Jim Schwartz would often have Brandon Graham match up against the guard just because he'd be a lot faster than most of the guards he'd be going up against. So, but I do feel like Jalen Carter is the best interior defensive lineman that I think I've ever seen. Let me know. Let me know who is the best interior defensive lineman that you guys in the comments have seen for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's been some good ones. There's been Reggie White, Jerome Brown. Like, some guys that are really good. I know Jerome Brown was taken from us too soon, but during his 5 years in the NFL, he was just an absolute game wrecker. He could rush the passer. He could stop the run. He could do anything you would want a defensive tackle to do. And I was about to say no wonder he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm not even sure if Jerome Brown is in the Hall of Fame. And that's another thing you guys can verify for me in the comments. I would really appreciate it. But anyway, I thought our defense was absolutely suffocating. They took a bad Dallas Cowboy team and just beat the brakes off them after they got that one touchdown. It just feels so good knowing that we have been one of the best teams in the NFL for 7 years. And in that time, I want to say we've only had one losing season, and that was the weirdest year of all, 2020. So it just speaks to the consistency of this team. And I know Nick Sirianni wasn't there for all 7 seasons, but he definitely deserves his flowers. There's so many people still in this fan base that says he can't coach, but he has the second most wins in 4 years. And the guy in first place was actually 49ers legendary coach George Seifert. So that's pretty good company for Nick Sirianni. So for all those people who say he can't coach, Uncle Dan and the boys in my cousin's bachelor party group chat, what does that stat say about how you approach watching football and critiquing head coaches? The fact that your head coach is second in the NFL in winning percentage in his first 4 seasons, right up there with a Super Bowl winner, is really really impressive. And Nick Sirianni really does deserve his flowers. Don't, Eagles fans, please do not do what you did to Andy Reid. Don't call for his job until he has a couple bad losing seasons, which something that contributed to that was his son overdosing on drugs. So you really don't know what the guy is going through. I definitely feel like if he took off that 2012 season, he would still be the Eagles coach today. But that's neither here nor there. What else? Yeah, I thought our offense was absolutely tremendous. The defense was just suffocating. They absolutely pounded the Dallas Cowboys like they were a piece of chicken before right before you make chicken parm. Yeah, this Eagles team is on a roll, and if I was another team in the NFC, if I was another team in the NFC, I would not want to face them. They're just on a different level. I mean, Detroit and Minnesota might be the only two teams in the NFC that are on the Eagles level. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how the Eagles will stack up with the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota got a big win against Green Bay, and then Detroit plays tonight against San Francisco. So we'll see how those games shake out, and I'm really excited for playoff football to be here. I know the Eagles won't get the number 1 seed, which is unfortunate. You want to get that extra week off, but the Eagles will probably play the probably / definitely play the number 7 seed. So hopefully the Eagles can take out whoever that is rather quickly in that game next week. Or 2 weeks from now. Yeah, this team is just absolutely incredible. I love the way they play together. I love how happy they are for each other. Whenever one of them does something successful, you always see all 11 guys and the sideline like jumping up and down and getting hype, which is usually the case for any good team. It's usually not just the guys on the field. It's the sideline and the coaches and the training staff that all get excited when their teammates do well. And when that happens, that's such a special quality. This team really has a chance to be something special, and I personally cannot wait for it. I will have another video out later today discussing the Flyers and Kings game. And with that being said, as always, go Birds.